Hey you guys, this is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy James, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, this is the girl on fire, Jessie Nolan, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey there guys, Sam Leterna here, and you're watching Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the hottest and latest interviews every Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am your host, James J, with Coleco Yachts and Scooter Dust, and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with, from Wrestle T Podcast, Sam Letourna.
Hi guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, it's great to have you on. Could you tell us what you have coming up next?
Yeah, in terms of like events and stuff like that, this week is actually gonna be big because I'm going out to Texas for Mission Pro Wrestling, where I'm coming up on a year of doing first ring announcing and then now commentary with Mission Pro, and it's one of my favorite places to work. Getting to work with like Thunder Rosa is super cool.
I can imagine that. She seems pretty cool too.
Yeah, she's a good boss.
And what can we find you on social media and merchandise if you got it?
Yeah, so Instagram and Twitter at Sam Leterna. My last name is spelled Leterna. I also have patreon.com/Sam Leterna, where you can get like insider bloopers, clips from Wrestle T, backstage, behind the scenes stuff with wrestlers and with me, cool photos, stuff like that. And then you can also just direct message me if you're interested in stuff like stickers, wristbands, 8x10s, and I have some trading cards from Raw Indie Deal as well. So yeah.
What about Wrestle T? Is anything coming up for interviews or? Yeah.
Yeah, so Wrestle T you can find on YouTube. It's my interview channel where I interview your favorite independent wrestlers on the rise, people that are going to be doing big things, I think. And I actually just had the opportunity to go to quite a few shows, including Limitless, including GCW Hammerstein. So I think I'm going to have some cool clips to be putting out on Wrestle T as well as on my social media. Moving forward. So just keep an eye out in the next few days, next week or so.
Right. And all of those links will be in the description of the video below or on YouTube and Castbox.
Awesome.
Now, let's get into it. What is something you wish you knew from the last interview you did that you didn't know during your first?
I wish that I would have known that I shouldn't be moving my hands like a crazy person, because that's really big in broadcasting. Like, you have to control your hands, and that's something that I'm still working on. You have to be really conscious of your body. But also, I was like just way over the top when I first started doing live interviews. Like, if anyone looks back at like IWTV's Twitter from 2020, like the collective weekend, I was just like a little baby. Like, I had no idea what I was doing, and I just like got thrown in, and I was like, all right, this is what I think interviewing is. But I've had a lot of people, guide me, thankfully, in the right direction. So yeah, I'm just doing my thing, and I've gotten better, so I'm more comfortable now, but it's all a work in progress.
You don't have the jazz hands going now.
No, only sometimes. It really depends. But when I do, I know I did it at least, and then it's like, okay, for next time, we can't do this, lesson learned.
So it's kind of unintentional at this point. It's just a mental thing that you do you use the hands.
Well, it goes beyond that. I'm Italian, so I use a lot of hand movements. I'm also half Venezuelan, so very, like expressive people. So lots of hand movements,
And what's an interview where you had one expectation going in but turned out completely different?
Oh my gosh. Okay, my interview with Nick Gage. Nick is awesome, like sweetest guy ever, for giving me an interview last year, WrestleMania weekend. He, obviously you know what to expect to an extent with Nick Gage, like what you see when he comes out, but then when you interview him, he's got a lot of really insightful things to say, and he's like a wealth of knowledge on, like the like late 90s, early 2000s, like era of that like CZW style wrestling that's like come to be known as like, deathmatch wrestling.
Yeah.
He's like the god of that shit, right? As he calls himself. So yeah, it was really cool to just see him like from like a more human perspective in that interview, I guess you could say.
But I actually eliminated one of my questions because I wanted to know more about that Nick Gage interview. How did that come
Oh,
about?
cool. We were on the same page.
Yeah. Um, how did that interview come about? Did you just ask him that day, knowing that he was going to have like a brutal death match that night?
So yeah, I actually had no idea that he was gonna have a match like that. Yeah, but that was a crazy match with him and I believe RSP. But yeah, he like, the fact that he had such an important match, and I'm sure when there's like so much riding on that and like expectations that you have so much on your mind. So for him to give me that time as an interviewer was really nice, and he had really nice things to say, and he always, tells people that he's got my back when I'm in front of him at shows, which is really nice. I always appreciate the love from Nick.
I was gonna say you got the Nick Gage rub. I was like, he went into the camera. It's like if you mess with her, you mess with me, and I'll slap you. I was like, oh well, I better not mess this interview up.
Wrestle T is Nick Gage approved.
That is awesome. Um, Now you did work for Leapfrog, and you even got your own special out of it, Sam Letourna's slumber party. When did you find out about that, and how did you feel about getting, your own special?
This was when Camp Leapfrog first started, and I never thought that like it would evolve into what it did. Creatively, it was such a crazy, funky, fun, like anything you expect like in the world, like out of human possibility, could happen at Camp Leapfrog. But to get the special, like I helped Chris Levin with like the creative and ideas for the show. So one day Chris pitched it, and it was like only maybe a month after the first Camp Leapfrog, and we thought it would be a really cool way to like keep the camp theme. A slumber party is, kind of like a group setting, a camp like setting. So we thought it'd be cool, and I still at that point like was so new. I was like a month into working for IWTV. Like I had just worked like my first like ever live coverage for them at ICW No Holds Barred. Like I was so new to everything, so I had no idea what I was doing when I went into the slumber party. But we had so much fun, and I think that was like one of my top two events. That and Christmas trios, as well as I can't think of it. Killian Vision. Killian Vision was pretty cool too. I think those were my top three events from Leapfrog that will be memorable to me.
Now the spin the bottle with the was that walking spin the bottle or shoot spin the bottle?
Oh, I don't know. You'll have to see for yourself. You gotta leave it to your imagination,
Fair enough. Now, you was a pro wrestler at one point, and you was VPW champion for one day. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was champion for like not at all actually, but I did get the what is it? I had the Victory Pro Wrestling. I won the Queen of New York tournament, so I was in contention for the championship.
Okay, I got you. And you
Yeah,
also
but I loved Victory Pro Wrestling.
and you were also a part of Glamorous Glenn Gordon's Glamazons.
I'm not familiar with that at all.
Oh, maybe it was a different sample Letourna. I
It's okay.
apologize.
It's okay. There's a lot of random stuff on the internet. I don't know, but yeah, it just doesn't come to mind. I'm sorry.
Okay. You had a segment on your show, draw it back and pay it forward. What happened to that?
So, it wasn't really anything like that I consciously stopped doing or started doing. Like, I just started focusing more on like conversational content as opposed to like kind of more of like, short soundbite content, like, a pay it forward, pay it backward, etc. But yeah, my hope is that like once COVID is over, that I can start doing things, interacting with more people in a live setting, including fans, and ask, some fun, compelling questions, not just like serious wrestling questions, but like more interactive stuff. But there's a lot of ideas in my brain, but I can't do them during the pandemic.
Is there somebody you'd like to draw it back and pay it forward to right now?
Yeah, okay. I will throw it back to always Landstorm, always Johnny Rods. I will also throw it back to John Alba, who is an awesome broadcaster and one of my mentors, and he's helped me tremendously, and he's, always there for me to ask for advice, like literally. So definitely John. And what do you call it? Then paying it forward, people I'm inspired by. There is an interviewer called her name is Rosaria Elsa, and I met her at Capital Championship Wrestling in Delaware, where I work. It's an awesome all women's promotion. It's new on the East Coast. And, I think that she has a lot of potential. I think she's also working the new CZW reboot, so I want to pay it forward to her. And then wrestlers that, I think are deserving of paying it forward to, always Masha Slamovich, because she motivates me to be better as a friend. And then, of course, I think Becca, who is my favorite independent pro wrestler, I'm going to pay it forward to her because she's awesome. She's a badass. And I think that she's going to, break some really major barriers in the future, and that this is her year. So I'm going to pay it forward to those people and pay it back to the ones I mentioned before.
You mentioned Masha. Have you seen the lobster slippers she wore?
Yeah, I've worn the lobster slippers. But many people have worn the lobster slippers randomly at this point. But yes, everyone's, lob gang, right?
Is that what it's called now?
Yeah, the fans have dubbed it Lob Gang, so I guess Masha is the leader of Lob Gang.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Alright, so you were the host of Wrestle Tea. How do you take your tea?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my ideal cup of tea, my go-to is green tea with honey, like on the go, just like straight up, like kind of like you would do black coffee with a little bit of simple syrup. Mine is like green tea with a little bit of honey. But if I am like having the time and I want to make a latte, there's this tea called Iron Goddess. It's an oolong tea. It is just so delicious with a little bit of almond milk or whole milk and then a little bit of like honey. Oh my gosh, it like blows my mind the way it tastes. It's the best tea I've ever had. So those are my two.
I like tea with strawberry and orange in it. Put a little
Ooh,
strawberry.
I've had strawberry tea and raspberry tea. They're pretty good.
Yes, but no, the actual fruit in the tea.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yummy.
Now you had mentioned, you have all these ideas once the pandemic is over. You Russell T kind of started online with video chat interviews, but now you've done a few in person as well. You prefer the in person, or is the online more your speed?
I haven't really figured it out yet, but there's pluses and minuses to both, I think. When you make mistakes virtually, it's easier to cover that up, right? I think or like if you get frozen up or you forget your question, or even if the person I'm interviewing, like, forgets their train of thought or something, it's just easier to cover up virtually. Whereas in person, you're face to face and, it's more obvious to each person on a professional level, I suppose, like if someone makes a mistake or freezes up or something. So I guess it's more pressure in person. In person work is definitely a little more rigorous. But to keep the energy up in virtual videos is really important too, right? Because there isn't that face to face and you want to keep people engaged.
That's true. But you said that the in person's a little bit more vigorous. Do you like that more vigorous aspect? Does that kind of it's more of a challenge?
Well, I don't know if it's about like liking it more or, liking virtual less necessarily, because I'll do whatever I have to do in terms of just creating content, which is, obviously why I was doing virtual interviews in the pandemic. But I do like live work, particularly live broadcasting work, separate of WrestleT at the moment, just because it's challenging me to, polish the way I do what I do and, rise to the occasion, getting the opportunity to be a broadcaster at so many awesome companies like Limitless, like Beyond, like Mission Pro, being associated with IWTV for like over a year now and getting to like be one of the hosts has just been awesome. So, you got to rise to the occasion, wrestler or not, no matter who you are in the industry. If you want to, take this seriously, gotta be disciplined, I suppose.
All right. Now, there is a wrestler out there named Dio Ivory, and he is the Tea Time champion.
Yes.
Would you ever consider lacing up your boots again to face Dio Ivory for the Tea Time champion in a match where you have to drill your opponent in a vat of iced tea? Special referee Iced Tea, announcer Mr. T, commentated by Booker T.
In a perfect world, that sounds like a really fun match, and I think Theo is a sweetheart. So, in a perfect world, I would say yes. But in, my current life, I just don't think that right now for me it's feasible to be a wrestler and a broadcaster, because it's hard to be excellent at one thing, right? So it's hard to put energy into two. So I don't know. I think I might have to turn down the T match, but, if Theo called me out, you never know.
Okay, gotta get the deal on that. Oh, it's now time for the colossal question, not featuring Kaliko this week. They decided to make a movie about you, and every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first three songs on the Sam Letourna movie soundtrack up to this point?
Okay, so definitely You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. Probably Santeria or like some sort of Sublime song. And then, ooh, that's so hard. There's so many. I just feel like Oops, I Did It Again because I love Britney Spears. I don't even know if it would go with the movie, but I would make it go with the movie.
Well, if you're a producer on it, you can make it fit.
Hey, you never know. The sky's the limit.
Do you lock it in?
Do I what? Yes, I
lock
lock it in. I'm locking in it.
Okay, we'll lock that. Alright, on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza, what's your stance?
Oh, I do not do pineapple on pizza. I'm very specific about the toppings I do like on pizza, and it's not very many, so pineapple is just crazy. And if I were to do pineapple, the only way I would do pineapple is if I knew where the ham was coming from. There would have to be ham on it too. I couldn't do pineapple alone. I would do extremely nice, thin sliced ham, and then very, very thin slices of, like, the pineapple halves, the circles, very, very thin. And then I would cook that, and it would be delicious. But too chunky, not for me on pizza.
How are you friends with Masha? she's
Oh.
she's fine with pineapple with ham. That's where she got hot.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, Masha and I have, like, kind of opposite food tastes. I love condiments and putting a bunch of stuff on my food, and then, like, she's very into, like, basic food. Like, if we go to a sushi place, I will literally, like, get, like, random stuff sometimes, and then she'll go with, like, California roll, salmon roll, tuna roll, like the basic rolls with nothing in them, and she, like, loves it. So yeah, I don't know, it just happens like that. Opposite taste palettes.
No, but, like, when we interviewed her, like, she, like, not a crossword came out of her for the whole duration, but when we got to pineapple on pizza, she dropped like 20 F-bombs.
That is so funny. Yeah, she's
I was like,
she's
oh,
very passionate about that cause.
what's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon is Jigglypuff. Always has been, always will be.
Alright, yeah. Weirdest question you ever be asked on a wrestling podcast. Would you ever consider interviewing a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual Rock.
Like a rock, like the inanimate object,
Yes.
like a rock off the ground. You know what? I would do it as, like, a comedy bit, perhaps, like, to segue into another segment. But yeah, probably not, unless I had, like, my own little TV show deal. Yeah, huh. I guess I'd interview a rock for fun. Hey, what is it? Brian Pillman Sr. wrestled a pencil. I think Joey Janela wrestled the pencil. Jimmy Lloyd wrestled the Invisible Man. So yeah, anything's possible.
Well, just for context, there was this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual Rock for over 15 minutes in what was dubbed a Tungsten Man match. An Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
Whoa, that's commitment right there, I've got to say. He might have broken a wrestling record, world record.
I'm pretty sure he did, and he still didn't win the match. We love Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
No, I don't.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a Doug can't spell.
Haha, that's funny.
Now, it's once again time for that segment. And Letourna's Bizarre News. You're in the wrestling world, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are about to happen. Can you tell us a weird story that fits that description?
Yeah. Okay. Let me think, because I can't just say anything. I have to, be considerate of people. Let me just, I've had moments, but I've gotta, give me a second. Oh my, gotta keep it like PG-13 perhaps.
You could say whatever you
So,
want.
I know. People would love for me to say whatever I want, I guess. Okay, so, this is a funny story, actually. Oh wait, no, I can't tell that story. Fuck. Okay, so I think, okay, I'll tell. Okay, one time I was on my way. I had moved to the Midwest, and I was literally driving with this girl, and mind you, she's like very, like, she had just like left the house, very like, well behaved, vanilla, like baby face, total baby face. And she worked baby face too. Nikki Victory, when I was still wrestling, and we drove to Pittsburgh, and on the way back, I'm a crazy driver, really crazy driver. And she was like trying to maintain her cool with me. Like she's very calm and like she's not, happy. She's not gonna like tell me that I'm driving crazy. And we're on these like back roads in like Pennsylvania. And all of a sudden, I hit something in the middle of the road and it is a gigantic log. And this girl's face, I will never forget it. It's like the fear of God. She saw her life flash before her eyes and like just thought we were going to be stranded and like was clutching the top of the car, like literally the fabric of the car. It was, I mean, maybe it's messed up for me to say it was hilarious, but it was hilarious because I knew we were going to be fine. But yeah, so that's like my PG story. I have a lot of stories that I just cannot tell because I got to keep it.
I mean, you could change names to protect the innocent.
No, I can't, because if anyone listens to it, some people might know. So, I'm sorry, but you got to get the tea from someone else.
Fair enough. But what was the log just doing in the middle of the road?
I have no idea. Like, this was like outside of Pittsburgh, so Pittsburgh is a small city, but like I couldn't justify having a log in the middle of the road. It's almost like it was placed there mysteriously, like, or maybe it fell off the back of a truck. I do not know.
Yeah, that's odd. But it's a good story.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself living, in Florida, working for a major wrestling company. Hopefully doing commentary as one of the few women to have that honor of doing that on nationally syndicated television for pro wrestling. I hope that I have, maybe my own podcast by that point that's more conversational and outside of the realm of wrestling, but I have no desire to ever not be involved in wrestling. But yeah, just, stuff like that, having a nice house, living with my dog, traveling a lot, stuff like that.
And was an interview people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what Wrestle T is all about.
Ooh. I do really like my interview with Danny DeMonto because it's very eye opening and I feel like he and I had good chemistry. I also think that like my best interview from like a perspective of the way I think I did in terms of asking questions and engaging the person and having a really like good, deep, meaty convo was Daniel Garcia. So actually, like Daniel Garcia would be the top interview for me from Wrestle, especially because it was virtual and we managed to like really just get into the nitty gritty of the questions, and it was an awesome combo. I appreciate Daniel for taking the time to do that. He's rad.
And we could even put that interview in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox, for anybody that's listening to this that wants to check it out after they listen to this.
Awesome.
Now that we're nearing the end of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of 10. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready, Sam?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Ooh, the greatest. Well, I'm gonna have to go with Randy Orton.
Worst wrestler of all time.
um, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I think one of the lesser gimmicks of all time is probably like Repo Man or something like that. But don't want to put down the wrestler because sometimes they don't get characters that they want to be doing. So got to be fair.
No, I got you. No love for Repo Man.
Yeah, I guess.
You're booking the main event for WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who are the 2 combatants?
Ooh, does this mean in their prime, or like what are the circumstances?
There are no circumstances. Anybody
Okay,
you
so
want.
I'm gonna say this. I want them in their prime. So I would do, um, I think it would be really cool to see each person at their peak, like an Evolution Fatal 4-Way. And yes, I would be talking of a young Ric Flair in like a dimension where that would be possible. I think that would be really cool. I think it would be awesome to like see some cool trios teams from the indies, even like from from like AEW, even like wrestling the Freebirds or something like that. I like intergenerational fantasy stuff for wrestling, fantasy booking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
I would come out to Burn in My Life by Randy Orton, or that song, Victoria's original theme song, all the things you said, all the things you
Yes.
said in my head, whatever. I'm not going to sing it. I'm a horrible singer. I can ring it out sometimes, but not a good singer.
I don't know, you did pretty good right there. No,
Oh, yeah, because everyone knows the song.
no, tattoo's my jam. That's probably what I've come out to as well. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but Randy Orton, Born in My Life, has been said on the show before. Honestly, super underrated.
It's so underrated. Like, literally, Burn in My Light was, like, the soundtrack to, like, my like preteen years. Like I listened to that like even when he started using voices and stuff. So yeah, big good stuff. And he'd come out with like the fireworks and
Yes.
stuff, and it was a whole presentation.
I think it's underrated because Randy didn't necessarily like that theme song for himself.
Well, yeah, maybe he didn't think it like suited like who he was as like an extension of his character, but like himself, right? But
Yeah.
the song itself, it slaps.
Alright. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe
Okay.
is.
Dead. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it's dead. Kayfabe is real.
We would have accepted. Tastes great on toast as well. Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Squash is a vegetable. Well, technically it's a fruit, I believe, but I enjoy it as a vegetable. It will always be a vegetable to me.
So, technically a fruit, but a vegetable to you, damn it.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's the most Coleco answer we've ever had on the show. You are in good graces with him now, and you are part of Squash Squad.
Yay.
New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
I think, for ladies, it's up to their personal discretion. I think for guys, I really only want to see like a fifth to a quarter butt cheek out there. But, some guys are working with more than that, and maybe it's going to pop out. And if it pops out, just own it,
Yeah. And the main event, the last question, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
That is a very specific question. No, I do not think I have ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin.
And that is the correct answer.
That is the correct answer. You're right.
Kit, that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me, Sam.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun. You asked some really juicy questions, and you're a pretty decent interviewer, man.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And once again, where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, so Instagram, Twitter at Sam Leterna. Last name is spelled Leterna. If you want to see some backstage clips, bloopers, and fun photos, what I do when I'm on the road, patreon.com/Sam Leterna. There's a bunch of different tiers to select from. Also, Wrestle Tea. You're going to be seeing a lot of stuff on there from my last month on the road. It has been busy, lots of content, so check out Wrestle Tea on YouTube for the best interviews on the indies.
And once again, merchandise as well.
Excuse me?
Merchandise as well.
Oh, yes, merchandise. So for merchandise, you can just direct message me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm pretty good at responding back as long as you're respectful.
Alright, and of course, all of those links will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. You've been listening to her for over 30 minutes. By a damn sword.
Thank you so much, James.
Of course, we have to do it big here. Of course, if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next week on the show as we interview with Bison. In the following weeks, from Fight Factory Wrestling UK Dutch. And the week after that, Motor. You can follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on Twitter and Instagram for all the news and happenings. You can follow me at JamesJ993, Kaliko at I am Kaliko. You can follow Scooter at Scooter Dust, and on the Remix, the only live alternative commentary for WWE paid previews on the internet today on the UNSB network. Now, Sam, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, alright?
All right.
For our very special guest, Sam Letourna, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.